Okay. Here we are. We are at what's it called? Ein Yakov. Ein Yakov, and it's on Brachot 47, A2 in the Ad Scroll. So we're talking about Amen. When you say Amen, how do you say Amen? Can you go Amen or Main, or Amen, not saying the Nun, all those different variations, okay? So here we go. So the Gemara says, Oh Hashem, Tanur Rabbanan, our rabbis learned in the Breita. You have it? That's again, it's the middle paragraph, 1, 2, 4th paragraph. Tanur Rabbanan, our rabbis learned in the Breita. In onim lo amen chatufa. We may not respond with amen chatufa, which is cut off. That's when you pronounce. He explains to them, amen is announced with the aleph vocalized with a chataf. That is a shva, or as compared to how it should be with a kametz gadol. Amen as compared to main. In other words, a shva under the aleph, you can't say that. So now we also have a problem, and now we pronounce the patach the same way that we pronounce the kametz. So if you're Ashkenaz, old style, then it's not a problem. It's amen versus amen. So then you know it's amen. You understand? That's the correct way to say it. Amen, not amen. Amen would be incorrect according to old Ashkenaz pronunciation, because that's a patach under that. So you wouldn't want to say that. That's a chatufa, according to this. If you are Sfard, then you're going to say the patach and the kametz the same. So then you have a bit of a problem, because you're not going to hear any difference. So what you're trying to avoid there is skipping the aleph. Okay? In other words, you want to hear the amen. Okay? That's number one. V'lo amen ketufa, nor can you make an abbreviated amen. That means leaving out the nun at the end. People love to leave out last letters. You don't know anybody like that, do you? No. People love to leave out last letters, and this is, if you're a Bostonian, then the word C-A-R, how do you pronounce C-A-R? If you're a Bostonian? Ka. You skip the R. Yes, what's your question?
Also, some people add
I can't hear you.
Some people add an well, we do, me up and down, or down off and I. A while when we were little, we used to add centers, and it's like, I want to know when we used to say no, we say no
What would that be with no
No.
So what?
When you were accepted, it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't get any,
Reward?
Reward for
No, but we're talking about you saying the amen.
No, I'm not talking about that, but like, he said people love to drop letters, but also, as I remember that we added...
So you shouldn't add either.
Yeah.
You can neither add nor subtract. Okay? No problem. Okay. Been down with my voice here. Oh, there it goes again. Okay. V'lo amen yitoma. You also cannot have an orphaned amen. Now this is an interesting situation. An orphaned amen. So the way Rashi explains it is... Did you see it? Where is it? Yitoma. He says, Shelo shama habracha. You did not hear the bracha. Ela shema sha'onin amen. But you heard others say amen. And therefore you decide you're going to jump on the bandwagon. Say amen. Right? That's an orphaned amen. You didn't hear the bracha. So v'hai da'ama. So then it says, wait a second. We learned in the Gemara Sukkah in Parak Chalil, Alexandria in the Shul in Alexandria. Mitzrayim, it was in Mitzrayim, Egypt. Hayu manifin v'sudarin k'shiyagia eid la'anod amen. People would be waving flags because it was so big. The show was so big that they would be waving flags so the people would know to say amen. We just said that is an amen chatufa because yutoma because you did not hear it. And Alma Jalo Shama, Vikaya Anu Anehumida. So how, if that's the case, how could they answer amen? So Vikaya Anu Anehu Miyade Yade Shein Onim Alcha Bracha, because they knew that they were answering after the bracha, Vial Eza Bracha Hemonin Amen. And they also knew which bracha they were listening, they were saying amen to. El Shalayu Shomim Erako, but they just couldn't hear his voice. So what happens? You're in a shul. Bottom line, you're in a shul, and the guy is saying, repeating Shemona Esrei. You don't hear every word. You don't even hear every other word. You may be sleeping. Who knows what you're doing? Or the person's just running away with the words. You know which bracha he's on if you're just following along. All you do is follow along. You know which bracha he is on. At that point, even if you don't hear the whole bracha, but you hear others saying amen, you can say amen. On the other hand, if you just walked into the room and you didn't hear the bracha, you just heard people saying amen, that you cannot say amen to. It's an amen yitoma. You understand the difference? Everybody's cool with me there? Okay, so again, if you know what the bracha is, you can say amen. Even if you didn't hear all the words, even if you didn't hear any of the words, you saw everybody saying amen, you knew where the person was, you can say amen to that. You cannot say, on the other hand, Baruch Hu Uvoch Shemo, if you didn't hear Hashem's name. That you can't say. But the amen, certainly you can say. Okay, so now we go on. And it says, Lo Yizrok Bracha Mepiv, and here's another interesting one. One should not throw a blessing, literally, one should not throw a blessing from his mouth, which is, of course, what Rashi explains is b'mehirot. You shouldn't say it quickly. Why? Shadom elav k'masoi, because it looks like it's a burden upon you. Ella shechol kavuah. It looks like a burden and something that's fixed upon you to do it. So you're not saying a bracha correctly at that point. So Ashkol says, a blessing is a statement of gratitude to Hashem and should be recited in a respectful manner. Thus, it's improper to recite it hastily, as if fulfilling an unwanted chore. So again, when you're saying a bracha, you should have them on Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam, whatever the bracha is. Barei Priya Gafen Shakol Nivaro. That's Bechos Nanan or Lamdeichu Kech. Asher Kechana B'Mitzvot Sivanu, that commanded us, and then any one of the various other ones were saying you shouldn't just run it off. How do kids love to say brachas? What? What'd you say? You think God understood that? And what's everybody answer? God understands everything because God knows. Okay, wrong answer. Wrong answer. Again, we're trying to express gratitude. Does God know? Yes, God knows. But we have to show gratitude to whatever we're given. And if we're going to do that properly, that means that we have to think about the words a little bit, at least know what we're saying. Also, it's why you should, before you say the blessing, you should have in mind what the blessing is. In other words, if you're going, Baruch Atah Hashem, what's the bracha?
Then you start scrambling.
Right. You don't do that, okay? So that's why I always tell everybody they should know the bracha beforehand, and that's it. Know what you want to say. Now, it says, Ben Azai Omer, Ben Azai said, and Ben Azai was an interesting person. Ben Azai never got smicha, he never got ordination. He died a young man. I think he was 18, if I remember correctly. And but he also, yeah, that's the basic thing. He died at around 18. Never got smicha, never got ordination, but he still quoted tremendously in the Gemaras. So Ben Azai said, Kola ona amen yitoma. God forbid somebody answers amen. He says an amen yitoma. Again, he didn't hear the bracha. He just jumped in with everybody else. It's a curse he gives him. You vanav yatomim. His children will be orphans. That's how important amen means. What does amen mean, by the way? What's the contents of amen?
Agreeing to the bracha.
I agree, correct? So now, how do you know when it's amen yatoma? How do you know that you shouldn't say amen to a particular bracha? Besides, you didn't hear it.
Because you couldn't agree with it because you didn't know.
No, not that. No. If it was longer than the three words,
Oh.
Kael Melech Ne'eman, Amen. Kael Melech. I'm putting the kuf instead of the aleph. Kael Melech Ne'eman. That's what Amen stands for, according to some people. God is a true God. Okay, a faithful God. So if it's longer than those three words, now it's an Amen Yatoma. So even if I heard a bracha, and I heard every word of it, and then I realized, I should say Amen, but it's past the amount of time we say Kael Melech Ne'eman, which is all of 1 second, 2 seconds. So Yatoma, yeah.
So then, if the punishment for saying an incorrect amen is your kids are going to be orphans, wouldn't you just be safer not to say amen at all?
No.
Why not?
No, because you should say it at the because if you don't say it, then you're saying it's as if you were saying I don't agree with it. God forbid. Why would you want to have that?
No, but if I say it incorrectly, and
No, not incorrectly. You're saying it late.
Okay.
Late. In other words, the Yatoma. There's only the Yatoma one. We didn't get to the other yes. We didn't get to the other curses. Right now we're only on Amen Yatoma, which is only the Amen that you didn't hear the bracha to, or you took too long in saying Amen. Okay, so what the curse that Ben Isaiah is giving is he says if you're going to treat the Amen in that sort of manner. By the way, why is it so important to Amen? Because
Do you agree with him?
besides that, it depends on who's saying it, but he could be exempting you. So imagine somebody says, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Whoa, what was that to? Well, that was Amen was just in the air? What were you doing there?
Yeah.
So, and on top of that, you didn't fulfill your mitzvah of making a bracha yourself. Again, depending on how long you're going to wait, you may not be included in that. So now you're going to eat bread or whatever you're eating, and you didn't make a bracha. So that's no good either. So that's what he's saying. Don't say it too slow. Don't say it too quickly. Say it properly. Train yourself to say it properly. It's very dangerous to do otherwise. That's what Ben Isaiah is telling us. It's the power of Amen. It's amazing power that we have with Amen. So you don't skip it. You don't get into all that. But what you do is you listen and you make sure you're hearing it properly, or you're making sure that you know what bracha it's on. Again, if I'm listening to the repetition of Shemona Esrei, and I'm reading a book, I'm reading a Gemara. I want to learn the Gemara while he's going, and I'm counting on the people saying Baruch Hu V'Shmo, Amen. I jump in with the Amen. That could be an Amen Yatoma. It's a very bad situation you put yourself into.
You weren't listening.
You weren't listening. You have to listen, or at least know what he's on. If you can't hear him, B'di'evid, you should know what he's on. Now he says, he also said chatufa, one who responds with amen chatufa. And remember, the amen chatufa was when I didn't say the letter under the aleph correctly. So what happens? Yitchatfu yamav, his days will be snatched away. That's what chatufa means. So he says that, yeah.
What if you hear him, but you don't know where he is? You can hear everything what he's saying.
So then, that's all you have to do is say Amen. If you hear me, say Amen.
Okay.
It's only when you don't hear it. If you hear me saying a bracha, so then you know, assuming that I'm a religious Jew, then you can say Amen. If I'm not a religious Jew, or you don't know who I am, so then, and you didn't hear Hashem's name, that's the other thing. I mean, obviously, if you hear Hashem's name and it's a Jew, you can say Amen, because we assume the guy or the woman is saying it properly. If you hear a non-Jew saying a blessing, then, or a kuti, I don't know why they would be saying a blessing, but if they did say a blessing, so then, if they said Hashem's name properly, so then you could say Amen. But if you didn't hear Hashem's name, then you would not be allowed to say Amen, because otherwise you could be saying Amen to idolatry. So, you know, that's when you'd be very, very careful with that. Okay, so, so let's go away. So, again, why, by the way, why is he saying that your days will be snatched away? He says, because you didn't draw out the aleph properly, so there's a dual meaning that it says, Ben Azai expounds the dual meaning of chatufa as alluding to one who customarily answers with Amen chatufa will have his days snatched away. That's another one. And then Ketufa, let's say he said without the nun at the end. What's going to happen? Yekatfu Yamav. His days will be abbreviated. Notice again, you're going to die short. V'chol hama'arich ba'amen. But whoever is lengthy with his amen responses, and what does that mean? He pronounces the word properly, avoiding an amen chatufa, or an abbreviated amen. However, he does not stretch it out so long as to spoil the pronunciation. That he doesn't do. Ma'arich lo yamav u'shnotav. Then his days will be, his days and years will be lengthened. So there's a tremendous reward for saying Amen, I agree, because it's true God, in a proper manner. Again, you don't want to go Amen. You don't want to do that either. That's also not good. Yeah. You have to speak up.
Is it for the Ben
Azai?
You think he died at 18?
I believe he. Sorry, you want to say he didn't to say Amen?
No, yeah, but he seems to be giving a lot of reasons, like you will be, all your years will be taken away, or
right.
Some years will be taken away, and
right.
I don't know, maybe he might have done something else or for some other reason, but it seems like he's giving these curses, and his life seems to be he died at a very young age. So
I can't answer why he died.
Yeah.
But it's I'm sure maybe I assume he said Amen properly.
No, it's just odd to me that he's giving curses that take away your life.
He's not saying no. He's not giving curses. What he's saying is, thank you for asking. It's not giving curses to anybody. What he's saying is, if you do this, then the natural result will be that either will be snatched away because you're doing it. You're doing it to yourself by not being careful with a simple commandment like this. So then it's going to get worse as you go. And so your days will be snatched, your days will be abbreviated because you're looking for shortcuts, or you're not pronouncing clearly, or you're not doing things in a proper manner. So that's your life will be truncated. That's all. I don't think he's saying anything more than that. Okay, now we go to what you have. 47b2. And we learn what an Amma Aretz is. Just so we should understand, an Amma Aretz today is considered an ignoramus. It's 47b2, and it's the second paragraph down here. You have it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're looking at what an Amma Aretz is. An Amma Aretz in general is today what we call an ignoramus. If somebody calls you an Amma Aretz, they've just insulted you. Okay, just let's be clear about that.
Are these people of the land?
People of the land.
Does it mean like country people? What does it mean like?
Well, it could just mean the nation, because
really?
it said, yeah, and I'll tell you why I say that. If you go back to the Bereshit, Genesis, and you go to where Avram is meeting Chai Sarah, where he's going to bury Sarah, so he goes to Bnei Chet, and it says Amma Aretz Bnei Chet. The people of the land, the council, if you will, of Bnei Chet. So they weren't always ignoramuses, but the concept today, if you would call somebody today an Am Aretz, then you're really insulting the person.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how it drifted to that meaning.
Oh, that in the Yisrael Hashem we're going to learn. And I can even give it to you. It's right here, actually. I was hoping someone would ask that. The bonus says, Ezu, first of all, the Gemara is asking, Ezu Ama Aretz? Who is the Ama Aretz? So the Bona answers, explains the question. Lahakir mihu Ama Aretz, to recognize who is the Ama Aretz, Natnu bo chacham and simanim elu. So the rabbis gave these upcoming signs. Alpha pi she'enan min musachalot, even though it's not from their intellect, as it were. The pi shemikdakte bechach, because they were particular about these things. Morish yeshli yediyah kitzap pitam adavarim. So it's known that there was a knowledge of a little of these items. Eno mk. Oh, is that what I'm looking for? Oh, I'm sorry, not there. Right? I saw this. It's really a play on words. Because what they want, it's not there. Oh, here it is. Okay. It's the Ian Yakov. That's right. Okay. So the Ian Yakov says, Efshar is possible. The Lechach Nikra Ama Aretz, that they were called an Ama Aretz, Ki Adam La'amel Yulad. A man was born to work, to toil. The question is, Ola Amel Betorah, Ola Amel Malacha. Which one did he choose? Did he choose to toil in Torah, or did he choose to toil in Malacha, work? That's the question. Liot Oved Adama, to be a worker of the soil. Kedeita v'chelek, like comes in the Gemara and Sanhedrin Parshat Chelek. Lahachi Amrin Pirkei Avot, and that's why we say in Pirkei Avot, En lecha ben chorim elamisha osek beTalmud Torah. The only free person is one who delves into Talmud Torah. The Ayin Sham Zeh Nikra Adam, and Al Shem Zeh, and for this name, he is. For this reason, he is called Adam. And a person who does not have the ability to learn, v'gam eno korei kriyat shema, and also does not read kriyat shema twice a day. The mekoyim v'zeh v'hikita bo yom v'layla, in which he fulfills the mitzvah of you shall meditate in the day on the words of Torah both day and night. Like it says in Menachot, Nikra Ama Aretz. He's called an Ama Aretz. She'ena Roy Rock Levodet Aretz, because the only thing he's fit for is working the ground. Kechashiv Shisha Devarim Nikra. So now we look at the 6 things that are going to be called Ama Aretz. Neged Zed Nemru Shisha Devarim Ba'amars. She says we look at these 6 things that we say opposite it, and that's what we call the Ama Aretz. Like we said in the Gemara Pesachim, Ela Ovrim, so on and so forth. The in okay, so the in of motion lo edut kamo kevan she'eno lahad elakadosh baruch hu b'kriyat shema, and they're not able to do testimony because they don't want to testify about Hashem in kriyat shema. Shu echad, that He is one. V'chein im eno maniach tefillin, doesn't put tefillin on, v'tzitzis, to have a ki'ilu meyid, edut sheker, and if he doesn't put on tefillin and v'tzitzis, so it's like he gave false testimony. Therefore you don't take testimony from him at all. You don't teach him the mysteries of the Torah, because that's only for those who fear Hashem, and they're not going to be it. So that's your answer. Why is he in Ama Aretz? He's more focused on the work, on the toil of the ground, and he's not cultured, or he doesn't want to study Torah. And by the way, studying Torah is, again, as the Yun Yaakov just said, is very simple. If I want to fulfill the mitzvah of study Torah, I just have to say Shema in the morning, Shema at night, and I fulfilled the mitzvah of Talmud Torah daily. daily, even though it's part of the
At
tefillah.
least that you're minimally observant, and you're at least aware of some things, and you're at least minimally observant in your practice, in addition to then going to work, whatever.
Correct. So now here why we care about the Amma Arts, by the way, there's a whole Gemara about this, that we're not allowed to eat with him, that's really what it's talking about. We're not allowed to make him is also mezuman. It says the kuti can make mezuman with. So amalo yehi ela Amma Arts. Why is Amma Arts? And we learned in the Bright that you can't make him you cannot include the Amma Arts with the mezuman. And why can't you include them with the mezuman? By the way, because you're not sure if they took the meiser. They're not sure if they're eating all their breads properly. Okay, not the breads, the foods. Sorry. So you don't want to get involved with that because there's a whole thing. One was either an Amma Aretz or one was a Chavir. The person who was a Chavir was one who would eat in spiritual purity, would make sure all the tithing was done. Even if he would get damai, which is questionable stuff that was tithed, he would tithe it himself. So they had accepted upon themselves higher standards. Today, by the way, you would look at that crowd as what we call the glatt kosher crowd. The ones who don't just follow any kosher out there, but the ones who are having glatt kosher, the ones who are having Chol Yisrael, Pas Yisrael, all the Yisraels. Okay, anything like that, they're trying to maintain a higher standards. And as a result that they cannot eat at certain people's homes. Okay, and that's what the rabbis were trying to say. So now they're arguing. They say, "Who is Yam Art?" So it says, "Kol she'enu korei kriyat Shema shachar v'arveh." One answer is, if somebody doesn't read the Shema both in the morning and the night, that person is an Amma Arts. So now, if you don't listen to comedy tapes, but this would be, who's a redneck? Who's a redneck? Okay. You're a redneck you're an Amma Aretz if you don't say Kriyat Shema in the morning and night, because again you're not testifying that Hashem is one. Do me a favor, you know how to turn it off? You know how to turn it off?
No. I can learn.
Just turn the thing.
Okay.
Just go to it.
Yes.
Just turn the gas off. That's all. Okay. So because otherwise it wouldn't. Go to the tank. Just turn it off. There you go, beautiful. Thank you. Always make sure it's all the way off. Otherwise, we get only the fumes. Okay, so that we don't want. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's number one. So he then that's the Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Yeshua said the definition of an Amma Aretz is kol she'ein maniach tefillin. Somebody who does not put on tefillin. If you don't put on tefillin daily, then you're an Amma Aretz. Again, because you're not giving testimony to Hashem, so on and so forth. By the way, these are not hard things to fulfill. In other words, once you do it, you're out of the realm of Amma Aretz. Ben Azai Omer, Kol she'em lo tzitzis bigdo. Anybody who doesn't put tzitzis on his clothes, doesn't wear tzitzis. Because in those days, apparently you had four-cornered garments. Yeah. We don't have them today. But if I would wear a four-cornered garment, which is chayev, I'm obligated to wear tefillin, tzitzis with that. Now I don't put tzitzis on, so therefore I'm desecrating, I'm transgressing a positive injunction from the Torah. You're an Amma Aretz. Rav Natan Omer Kol she'ein lo mezuzah al pitcho. Another one that's fairly simple. Yeah, I don't put a mezuzah on my doorposts. That's every doorpost in the house, except for the bathroom or a room I don't live in. But it's like a closet. So unless the closet is big enough for me to live in, then I have to put on the closet too. But I don't know if then you put it with a brach. I mean, there's a whole bunch of laws that go with it. But bottom line is, if I don't have a mezuzah up on my house, now if you think about it, what's those four things have in common? Before I go on, what does Shema, Tefillin, Tzitzis, mezuzah all have in common?
God.
The whole Torah has God. Shkach. Okay.
What?
The whole Torah has God in common with it. Well, what specifically about those mitzvahs?
Come from the same place in the Torah, huh?
Also true, but I'm saying what's specific about them. I'm thinking of Shema. You think about Shema. What does Shema do? What are we proclaiming?
They're all testimony.
Testimony to Hashem. They're all testimony to Hashem. So you have, it's very simple. I'm reminding myself that Hashem is this. So Kriyat Shema, I remind myself that Hashem is one, that everything is under His guidance. To fill in, you put it on your arm and your head, and what happens? You're binding that Hashem is large and in charge. Everything is happening through Hashem. Tzitzis, I remember my commandments. It's a testimony to the commandments. I look at them, I'm wearing them, I realize I have 630 commandments and thousands of rabbinics. And then you have mezuzah, which again, Hashem, I'm testifying that Hashem is guarding me as long as I fulfill His mitzvot. So imagine somebody putting up a mezuzah and then spitting God's face, not doing anything. So that same mezuzah that testified I'm protecting you is one that's saying I'm going to hurt you. People don't realize that. But again, if I have something up in front of me and all I have to do is read it, know what is in it, then and I ignore all that, why am I putting it up? Now you could say it's because the mitzvah deraisa, and this guy doesn't even know that. It's okay, but all these things have to do with testimony, telling us that all we have to do is fulfill the Torah. That's all we have to do, and we're all set. Rabbi Natan ben Yosef, now he starts to up the ante, if you will. You know what that means, to up the ante? Up the stakes? Good. He starts to go a little higher. And he says, what's going on? Who's an Aretz? Kol mi sheyesh lo banim. Anybody who has children, ve'enim agadlin the Talmud Torah. But he doesn't bring them up to learn Torah. That's the Aretz. So he may be singing his Shema, he may be putting his tefillin, talis, putting his mezuzah up, but what he does not do is he does not bring his kids to learn Torah. He doesn't make sure they learn Torah. So at that point, he's an Aretz too, for not doing that. Why?
Because he's not sanctifying God's name. Because he's not sanctifying God's name.
He's not sanctifying God's name. He's not teaching his kids to sanctify God's name. He is sanctifying God's name by doing what he's doing, assuming he's putting up tefillah and everything else.
But not teaching the kids.
Right, by not teaching the kids.
So within the same paragraph, he said, teach them
Right. Again, he's not listening. Good. Okay. Then it says that now we're going to up the ante a little more. So, by the way, until now, I think most religious parents at least, get this. They've said Kriyat Shema. One opinion says you're great at that point. Then talis, tefillin, mezuzah. Most Jews put mezuzahs up. Even whether they're good or not, I don't know. But they put up, most people put mezuzah. When it comes to teaching the kids, now we have drop off.
Oh.
Suddenly we have a drop off here. Now that's a different level already. Let's just say we're up in the ante. But this one really throws the ante up. Acheirim omrim, and the others say afilu kara v'shana. Even if you read Torah and you learn it, v'lo shamesh talmidei chachamim, but you don't serve or learn from talmidei chachamim, harei zeh am ha'aretz. This person is an am ha'aretz. So again, you are learning. You say, I'm going to learn my chumash. You open up your chumash and you learn, and as Rashi explains. Does Rashi talk about this yet? Yeah. He says you're learning, but you did not mishamesh. You didn't serve the Talmud Chacham. Hu Talmud atoloi b'svara. This is learning that's dependent upon reasoning. Shayunogin l'divrei Mishnah ta'am, that they give the words of the Mishnah taste or reason. Vayum atzvim yachad, and they would gather together. Va'oskim, and they would delve into it b'chach. V'udu gemet a gemar shesdura emarayim, and that is was how they would do it. They would get together and you would discuss the Torah, and from reasoning out what it means, and going and following along. That's what's called Mishamesh Talmidei Chachamim. Okay? As compared to learning it and just saying, good, and not going through the proper understanding. According to Acherim, they said that is an Ama Aretz. And then, yeah.
What if you learn it and understand it, but you don't do it?
If I learn it and I understand, but I don't follow the Torah?
Is this thing an Alma Hearts is someone who learns it but doesn't understand it?
No, yes.
So what if you?
What happened was he learned it, but he didn't go. He learned basics, but he didn't go through. He wasn't mashamish. He wasn't help learning with other people. As a result, he's going to get the wrong information, and he's going to do it wrong. So the rabbi here is calling him an Amma Aretz. The Acherim, I'm sorry, is calling him Amma Aretz.
So it's someone who does learn it and learn with other people and learn it good, learn and know it and understand it, but then doesn't do it with being Amma Aretz or something else.
No. A person who learns it, understands it, and is even shamish others, even learns with others, and doesn't do it, he's a Rasha. He's a wicked person. Because he's learned it already, he knows what he should be doing. By the way, when I say he, it's also she. Okay? I'm just saying he is because Hebrew uses that as inclusive of everybody, but he, she, if you will. Okay? So when one learns like that and one does not incorporate it, that person's a Rasha. That's all, because they know better. I had a Rabbi Tendler, who said to us as we were learning in yeshiva, she said, "We, the Orthodox, are in worse shape than a conservative or reform." Why? Because we know what we're doing and when we're doing it wrong. They don't. They haven't learned. So we're held to a higher level by God of responsibility than the others who are not. So sometimes it pays to be an Am Aretz. You won't be punished as badly for transgressing. At the other point, we hopefully will not be transgressing. We're learning what to do properly. We should be learning it. But know that if you don't, and you're under this mantle of orthodoxy, then it's your obligation. You put yourself there, or somebody put you there, and you have to live up to that. So that's something that's very important. That we can't just say, "Well, I'm Orthodox and I have the title, I wear the crown and blah blah blah." No. You're worse off sometimes because you wear the crown. Okay, and you should know better. That's why we have everything here right in front of you. Just look at it, learn it, follow it, incorporate it into your life. That's what we would tell you. Okay. Now here's. Again, we were upping the ante. Let's one more time. Rav Menashe Bar Tachlifa said, Tana Hilchata, if he learned laws, Safra, the Rashi says, Torah Kahanim, it's a midrash on Leviticus, and Sifrei, that's I believe on Exodus. V'lo azmin aleh, one still cannot make him a zuman with this person. Lo ratz l'sarful l'gimel zim, and you don't want. I'm sorry, and he doesn't want to join. No, you can't. He doesn't want to join the three from a zuman. So what happens? Rami. Oh wait, I'm missing something. I missed something there. Wait. Oh, okay. I know I missed something. He did. So the guy learned Sifra, Sifriya, Mishnah, but he did not serve Torah scholars. So you should not make a v'zima with him. Okay. So even though he learned all this stuff, again, and Sifrei, right? Oh, Sifrei is on the Book of Numbers. I'm sorry, and Deuteronomy. Okay, and even though he learned that, fine, he should not. You should make mezuman. So we have a story. Kinach nafshe. I'm sorry, I said it all wrong. Rav Menashe bar Tachlifa did do this. He learned Sifri and Mishnah, but he didn't serve, that's what it was, but he didn't serve Torah scholars. So what happened? Ki nach nafshe de Ravi bar Chama. So when Ravi bar Chama passed away, Amar Rava said, Lo nach nafshi de Rami bar Chama. He did not pass away for any reason, Ella dul azmin a Rav Menashe bar Tachlifa, other than not joining in Zimun on account of Rav Menashe bar Tachlifa. He explains he was punished for treating Rav Menashe bar Tachlifa as an Amma Aretz. Can't do it, right? So it says, the Gemara says, Vatanya, but we learned in the Braita. Let me just go with this for a second. So it says, Echem Omrim, that the others said, Afilu Karav Shanav Lashimish Tamid Chachamim Hareu Huama Aretz. Even if he read Torah, studied Mishnah, but did not serve at Torah scholars, he's considered Amma Aretz, and therefore you shouldn't make him a Zumim with him. So why was he punished? Shani Rav Menashe bar Tachlifa, he was different. Rav Menashe was different than the Amma Aretz mentioned. The Mashmalahu l'Rabbanan. For he did in fact serve Torah scholars. V'Rami bar Chama hu delo dak abatre, and it was Rami bar Chama who was at fault because he did not investigate him properly. This is something very important to read, because what happens is many times we think that somebody doesn't do something, and we don't check it out, so we assume it's Nam Aretz, and then we treat him incorrectly. So he was punished. So the Gemara says, Lashon Achir, Lashon Acharina, and another version is, Shama Shmaitata Mepuma Epemaihu Durabanan, because why was Rav Menashe Tachlifa, why was he punished after Rav Menashe bar Tachlifa? Because Rav Menashe bar Tachlifa listened to the teachings from the mouths of the rabbis and reviewed them, and therefore Kitsorbim Rabbanan. He was considered like a rabbinical student. He was, and even though he had not studied with senior Torah scholars, so you have a whole thing there. In other words, if I'm going to a class and I'm listening to what they're doing and reviewing it, that's all I can do, and that's considered, according to this, serving the rabbis, learning with them, and I don't have to worry about everything. So in other words, bottom line, what does it take to become an Amma Aretz? According to the most lenient opinion, is yes, I didn't say Shema morning and night. By the way, Shulchan Aruch rules that if all one can do is say Shema in morning and night, then they fulfill the mitzvah of Talmud Torah, and they jumped out of the category of Amma Aretz. Fine. Then the reason is, but we shouldn't advertise that, because then only the Amma Aretz will say, "Oh, that's all I have to do. I won't do anything more." So we should never advertise that. Okay, but nonetheless, that's what the halacha is. And now I'm advertising it to all the thousands and millions of people who are watching. If they got to 43 minutes, they'll know. Okay. Right. So if they get to 43 minutes, they deserve to know. Okay. The other thing is doing simple things. Ultimately, though, the highest goal that we should be looking for is to learn well and to be part of the conversation. If we are part of the conversation, if we are learning at that level, then we are assured that people will not treat us, should not treat us as Nam Aretz. We should be counted in the Mezuman. We should be right up there. And the biggest thing is, as you were saying, that hopefully we'll follow the words of the Torah, and then not only will we not be Ami Aretz, but we'll actually be good Jews for it. Okay, and we'll stop there.